All right, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a longest consecutive sequence. And so this question's also a part of the blind 75. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. So basically, the question is given an unsorted array of integers, return the length of the longest consecutive elements sequence. It has to be in O of n time. So basically, like in this array, for example, the longest sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's why we return 4. And then in this one, we have a 0, a 1, okay, a 2, a 3, 4, a 5, 6, 7, and an 8. And then because we counted 0, that was 9. So the output is 9. And so if we had, for example, let's say add like 5, then in this case we would return 5. Okay, so now that we've read the question, let's get into it. And so basically the way that I solved this question is you basically just want to first off convert nums to a set, and you just do it like that. And so basically the reason we want to convert it to a set is because then we are able to like kind of like check in O of 1 time if an element is within the array. Okay, and then we can create kind of like a max count, set this to 0. Okay, and then now we'd start looping through. So we'll say for x in nums. Okay, and then we'll call this like current, or yeah, we'll just call this count, but you can think of this as like the current count. Okay, so we'll have like one for the max count and we'll have one for the current count. And so current count will always get reset to 0 once we get back up to the like next iteration of the for loop. Okay, and then let's create a variable called start and let's set that equal to x. Okay, and then we want to say if x minus 1 is not in our set, okay, then we want to go while start in nums. Okay, and we want to say if start is in nums, count plus equals 1. I'm just gonna go quickly here, but then I'll work through step by step why this works. So equals 1. Okay, and then we can set max count equal to the max of max count or count, and then we will return the max count. Okay, as you can see, that works. But yeah, so let's kind of work through this now. So let's think about it with this example here. Okay. And so let's start off. So on the first one, we have 100, count 0. So we set start equal to 100. Okay, and then we say, okay, if x minus 1 is not in nums, okay, so that means, so if x minus 1 is not in the nums, so what does that mean? That means if 99, so we're checking, okay, so 99. And so the reason you want to check if like the current number minus 1 is not in our set is because then we only do that on numbers that are the beginning of sequences. Okay, so 100 is the start of sequence because there's no 99. If there were a 99 in there, like imagine it was like this, then 100 is not the start of a sequence. Okay, like for example here, like 3 is not the start of the sequence. So we have the sequence 1, like as the answer is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 3 is not the start of the sequence, 2 is not the start, and 4 is not the start. Although they are a part of the sequence, they're not the start. So the start of the sequence is 1. Okay, and so we only kind of start looking through and doing our loop on the condition that the current number minus 1 is not in it. Okay, so here 100 is the start of sequence, and it's just a sequence of only length 1. So we say, okay, so if x minus 1 is not in nums, so start of the sequence, okay, we then want to say, well, start is in nums, okay, and then we say, okay, so if start is in nums, we want to increase the count by 1, and then increase start, okay, so we then go and we say, okay, if start is in nums, it is, so we set the count equal to 1, so count is 1, and then we set start equal to 101, and then we say, okay, is 101 in nums? It's not, so we then set max count to 1. Okay, so because 100 is just a sequence of length 1. Okay, and then we check number 4, and we say, okay, if x minus 1 is not in nums, so we say, okay, if 3, so start is going to be equal to, 4, okay, and then we say, okay, if 3 is not, then we execute this. But in this case, 3 is in our nums, so we're not going to do anything, nothing happens. So we skip 4. And then get to this, is 199 not in our nums? It is, so we kind of do the same thing as we did with the 100. We get a sequence of length 1, so our max count stays the same, 1, okay. Then we go and we check 1, okay, and we say, okay, is x, so is 0 not in our nums? It's not, so that means we're at the start of sequence, okay. So now we say, okay, well, start is in nums. If start is in nums, okay, start was x, okay, so we gotta count 1, then we increase it to this, okay, so now start is 2, okay, we say, okay, 2 is in there, yep, okay, increase this by 1, okay, and then we get set it to 3, is 3 in there? Yep, it is, okay, increase this one more time, increase this to 4, boom, boom, then count equals 4, and then we say, okay, is 5 in there? Nope, it's not, so we end it, and then we set max count equal to 4, okay, and then we go and we check 3, is 2 not in there? It is in there, skip it. Is 1 in there? It is, skip it. Boom, return 4. And yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that kind of made sense. Basically, all we're trying to do is determine if a number is the start of sequence or not. It is the start of sequence. So let's write this here. A number is the start of a sequence in nums if and only if that number minus 1 is not in nums. And so I hope that makes sense, because you think about it, like 2 cannot be the start of the sequence because 1 is in there. So the sequence would have to be 1. 3 cannot be because 2 is in there. 4 cannot be because 3 is in there. 100 is the start of sequence, but it turns out the sequence is only of length 1. 200 is the start of sequence, but it's only of length 1. And yeah, so hope that made sense. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to leave them in the comments, and have a good day.